Hello, and welcome to the Personify Leadership Podcast, the podcast where we explore the transformative journeys of leaders who have embraced the principles of Personify Leadership to drive success within their own organizations. Hello, Kim. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you, Michelle. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Thank you so much for volunteering to be a guest on our podcast. I'm so excited to interview you today. Do a quick introduction of yourself if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm so happy to be here and I appreciate the opportunity. I'm Kim Kulekowskis and I am the Senior Manager of Sales and Leadership Training with IBSA Pharma USA.
Great. So, what initially drew you to Personify Leadership? What was it about our program that we're like, ooh, that's the one I want to do?
It was funny how, it's almost kind of like, you're shopping around for an apartment or a house and you just know it when you see it.
Yeah.
So I had been looking for a leadership development class, like something already, done, completely done. My manager had asked me to look for this. So I actually ran into you at, where was that? It was a convention. It was a
Training
training,
magazine, I
training
believe. Yeah.
magazine. That's right. You were doing something with training wheels,
Hmm.
right? You were there for training wheels, and I was talking to you about that because I love that as well. And I was talking to you about exactly what I was looking for, and you're like, something you may be interested in. So did a little bit my research on my own. You've got a fantastic website, and it was exactly what I was looking for and what we were looking for as an organization. It really fit our needs. And again, I had already had something planned out for like a 6 month leadership development, leadership enhancement type of training. And this just blended seamlessly. So I'm like, well, I could do my own 6 month program internally. And then the Personify Leadership class, the 2 day course, would just fit in seamlessly. And it would just kind of be, the end of that 6 month training, just to kind of recap everything. So
Nice.
that's one of the things that really drew me to it in terms of it fit nicely. I like the fact that it's really for any industry.
Right.
With my industry in pharmaceuticals, it fit in nicely, but any industry, as well as someone who's already in leadership and maybe needs to get a little bit better, and someone who's brand new and aspires to be a future leader. So to me, it fit in very, very well. I love the experiential activities. I loved how it wasn't just death by a PowerPoint, a
Right.
slideshow. In a nutshell, it was fun and it wasn't boring. So
Yeah.
that's really it. Just everything else that I had looked into, I was bored. With
Mm.
Personify Leadership, it was very, very engaging, and that's what people need.
Yeah. Well, and once you went through the program, you got certified in it and then you delivered it like almost 3 weeks to the day after you got certified in the
Yeah.
program, which is one of the most rapid deliveries that we've seen from one of our certified facilitators post
Mhm.
getting certified. So congratulations on that. Now, how did it impact you personally in your role in just the people that you lead and you manage? How did it impact you personally?
Yeah. So, as I was going through the class and then getting certified as well, I was just thinking to myself, I wish I had had this program years and years and years ago
Mm-hmm.
because I've been in pharmaceutical sales for so many years. And thinking about the leadership class is not only for, people that I work with, for, my peers, also for the customers that I encounter.
Yeah.
So for me, it, as I was going through it, some of the stuff was kind of like, well, I kind of already knew this, but I'm probably not paying as much of attention to it as I probably should. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what a lot of people going through other leadership trainings think. They think they know it all,
Right.
right? And they don't. So, maybe we do need to do a little bit more of a self-evaluation in that aspect, right?
Yeah.
But I think for me, what really brought out a lot of things that touched home, and it was like perfect timing of what I
Mhm.
was looking for in terms of having the spine of a leader, right?
Mm.
Having those
Yeah.
difficult conversations and the preparation that goes along with it. We're so used to, me personally too, just winging it, and you can't wing it.
Right.
So I think
Having a
for
really
me,
well thought out game plan for those courageous conversations is definitely helpful.
yes, that and being intentional,
Mhm.
leading with your heart. You always think you're doing the right things, but it may be, other people are looking at it a different way.
Yeah,
So
I
I
like
think for
that.
me, that really brought it to life. And I've been able to, as I'm facilitating, bring in my own personal experiences with it too, which has been fun.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about being certified and then delivered internally. You can match all of the stories and everything to the leaders in your organization to match your industry, the people that they're interacting with. So we highly recommend that those organizations that have a decent number of people that they want to have go through the program have one of their internal trainers certified. So then it just is that much more impactful for your leaders once they go through the program. So speaking of that, have you seen any shifts in culture or behaviors or anything like that in the leaders that have gone through the program so far?
I think the biggest culture shift is people want to come to this class. So I think
Okay.
it's very motivating. Once you do a class and word travels, right? How much
Yeah.
everyone enjoyed it. Hey, what do I have to do to get into this class? What do I
Oh,
have to
that's
do?
awesome. I love
So
that.
it's motivating for
Yeah.
people to know that, hey, I want to get into this class. What do I need to do to get to the next level? So
Yeah.
I think that's been a culture shift. I think, you know, I love going to my home office because the people who have participated in this course, they have their little cute tchotchkes, right? They
Yeah.
either have their cards that we get or
Mm-hmm.
like the little cute stress ball body parts sitting
Mm-hmm.
right on their desk. So it's always a good opportunity to get, engage again about, hey, what are we working on today? What are we working on? What's really hit. So I think, having those different little things to talk about has
Yeah.
been very impactful in bringing it to life and
Yeah.
keeping it
We,
front and center.
yeah, we call those anchor tools. And it just anchors them back to the learning that they had in the 2-day program. And it is a way to just revive the conversation, which then revives the energy and then reminds them of the skills that they learned, which then it does encourage them to then implement what they learned. So
I
yeah,
I love how leaders, whether it's just, a regional sales manager, an executive director, or our CEO, who have
yeah.
all taken this course, how they come and they tell me, hey, you know what? I really, really utilized what you taught me. It's great that I was able to help because I love to do it. It's great that they absorbed everything and are able to put it into application, what they learned. So that just tells me that with this program of Personify Leadership, people actually soak it in and they're learning the correct way through experiential activities.
Yeah, I love that your CEO has been through the program. Anytime you have an organization that like it's applicable for leaders at all level, even emerging leaders or even frontline contributors, because really it's a crash course in self-awareness, how you communicate with others, how to have courageous conversations, and all of those things happen at every level of the organization. So when
Yeah.
you do have an organization where the CEO immerses themselves right alongside the other leaders in the organization, it just really goes to show that everybody has opportunities for development and growth, and it doesn't stop just because you're the CEO and you're in the leadership position. Well, guess what? We still need to work on those behaviors no matter what level of the organization that you're at.
Yeah. One thing too that we've implemented, which I think is really a great idea, is for some of these leaders, they don't have time to sit through a 2-day program. So with me being certified as a facilitator, one thing that we really focused on is taking an hour and just doing the voice of a leader. And
Okay.
that's what we're going to be focusing on the entire year.
Okay.
Next year, we're going to take the spine of a leader and we'll focus on that the entire year. So, really taking all the different components and utilizing it into, a monthly, yearly training session to really hone in on those skills is something that I'm really looking forward to doing just to keep it front and center because I only have, a certain amount of people in the US sales force that I can deliver this to. So
Sure.
how can I make the most impact with the tools that I have and the tools that I've learned from Personify?
Yeah. Well, and in the voice of a leader, that's where we incorporate our behavioral assessments. And DISC is one of the tools that we use. And I know that your company, through our conversations, has really embraced that and has really
Mhm.
enjoyed learning more about what their communication preferences are and how they differ from other people, and then how they need to change the way they communicate based on somebody else's style and how they like to receive information. And there's a lot of new courses coming up with DISC and whatnot in the next year as well. So I'm excited for that continuation of learning to where it's not just a one and done program, to where there's multiple touch points and multiple ways to keep engaging and be able to continue that learning beyond the initial experience.
Yeah, our sales force has really, really grasped this, and they
Mm.
make jokes of it, right? "Oh, I think you're a driver, so I need to think about how I'm communicating with you differently." And then I say, "Well, I know you're more of an analytical type of person, so you're driving me crazy."
Oh,
So,
yes.
taking a step back, and then how can they put that into use to incorporate into their everyday sales positions with their
Yeah.
customers? So I know you had said there's additional things that are on the horizon that I can implement as well. So I'm excited to hear more about those.
Yeah, with Wiley Disc and that's the platform that we use, and with their new Catalyst program, the ability to be able to have your entire team on a platform where you can see where everybody else's styles are, and you can select and pick one person, and then it'll do a comparison report between your style and their style, and how do you interact better with them, and it gives you some great tips on how to either collaborate with them if you need to get their buy-in, if you need to just, get to know them a little bit better, or how to manage them, then they have
Yeah.
those options in there. And the new e-courses that they have coming out, they're 60-minute instructor-led e-courses that can be either done virtually or in person. And, someone who's going through those courses, then they picked someone that, if one of them is around managing direct reports. So if you picked somebody on your platform that is one of your direct reports, you would pick them. And then as you go through the 60-minute session, then at the end of it, you actually walk out with a action plan and the formula on how to manage that person well. And then you can go back in and do it with any of the other people that are on your team as well. So change management is another one of their topics. They've got 5 new e-courses coming out in 2025. We're excited to roll that out and have that be a nice complementary program to our core program.
Great. Yeah, I look forward to hearing those. Those will be very applicable to our reps and what they do every single day, as well as some of our managers too. So sounds good.
Yeah. Well, Kim, why should others consider looking at Personify Leadership as one of their core leadership programs? What's your little 30-second elevator pitch, if you would?
30-second elevator pitch. Well, I would say Personify Leadership is a wonderful tool for leadership development at any stage. Again, it could be for anybody, someone who's looking to be in leadership, someone who's already in leadership, all the way to executive CEOs. It's something they can use in their everyday work life and their personal life too. I mean, this is all encompassing. I think the engagement is probably the best engagement and interactive training session that I've ever been to and that I have ever facilitated myself. I think also what's important is during the content of the entire 2 days and in the workbooks that the participants receive, having those job aids
Mm,
are wonderful to utilize those job aids. I mean, you get so many tools that you can continue to refer back to, as well as there's so much time for engagement, interactivity, but yet there's a lot of time for self-reflection.
yeah,
Because as we know, a lot of times, some people, they don't really want to engage on some things. Maybe they want to delegate or some things they have trouble with. So they can just keep that to themselves, write it down as a self focus of what they need to do. So they don't have to share if they don't want to, which is
sure.
always a good thing. And then setting out their goals. This is a great, great program to see where you are at now and where you want to be,
Yeah.
whether it's a year from now or 5 years from now. So having those thoughts and putting everything into paper and actually taking time out for yourself is very, very important. And I think with Personify Leadership, it personifies everything that we're looking for and it makes it simple,
Yeah.
with the body parts and how it correlates and all the metaphors.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah,
that was
we
more
like to
than
tell
30
people,
seconds.
I mean, we walk around with these parts every single day, right? And so
Yeah.
we made it very human centered and very easy to remember. There's not a lot of 4-letter acronyms that you have to like remember what it stood for and things like that. It's, we talk about the heart of a leader and the voice of a leader. So it's the metaphors are just really easy to remember and absorb and then to apply because, it's not complicated. Some of the
No.
skills are difficult, but it's not complicated to remember what it is that you learned in the
And
course.
it's relatable.
Yeah.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it.
Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us outside of your busy schedule. We so appreciate you and all the work that you're doing at IBSA Pharmaceutical and So thankful that you've selected Personify and that it's made such a positive impact in your team.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Anytime, I will always be happy to talk about Personify Leadership. Thank you.